Over the last 2 years, I faced some very serious burnout after working at a Big 4 firm as a CPA, being a content creator on the side, podcast host, and planning my wedding. As you can imagine, my free time was practically non-existent, and I was desperate to find small ways to make life feel less miserable and add value back in my life in simple ways without exhausting myself further. I truly learned during this busiest and most stressful phase of my life that you truly can't do it all, and you definitely can't pour from an empty cup.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Abby if you are new here. I'm currently a full-time content creator and I have been for about the last 6 months after quitting my corporate job at a Big 4 firm as a CPA working in tax. I'm so excited for today's video because it is one that, if you think about it, has been years in the making, as I've been really figuring out what habits impact my mental, emotional, and physical health the most, as I've just been navigating my 20s and figuring out how to take care of myself amongst all of the many responsibilities we have in our life. So I'm super excited to share the habits that have truly just been the most transformative and are part of my daily, and if not daily, then weekly routine. And they have been a constant for me throughout working my corporate job full-time as well as being a content creator full-time, because they are things that I truly just value so much and truly believe make the biggest difference in my life. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe down below and turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload. I kind of just took you all through 2 days in my life last week where I was doing these habits and shared what they are with you all, as well as why I love them so much. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the 10 healthy habits that truly changed my life. One of the most life-changing healthy habits that I have implemented is meal planning. If you've been following me for the last year, then you know this has been a big part of my life and my routine. Meal planning and meal prepping are kind of two separate things to me. Meal planning is something I've been doing really ever since college. And what I mean by meal planning is basically just deciding what meals I'm gonna make for the week. I like to scroll on Pinterest for inspiration. I have a board on Pinterest. I also have like a collection on TikTok of the TikToks I've saved that have recipes. And the same thing on Instagram. I've saved a folder of recipes, and I kind of just cycle through those 3 apps and get a lot of inspiration from all of those for different recipes to cook and try out. I also post a lot of what I cook on my Instagram stories, so if you're not following me there, you can definitely see a lot of what I eat weekly over there. And I have a recipes highlight saved on my Instagram and link a lot of the recipes there. Meal planning is just really great because it does help us just have an idea of what we're going to be eating during the week, so I'm not scrambling to come up with a meal when it's the end of the day. I have no energy and no willpower to even think left. I like to use this acrylic magnetic calendar that we have here on our fridge to put our meals on. This part is dated, and I normally just put like travel and big events and stuff like that on here. But on this bottom part, it is mainly blank. It's more of a weekly planner, so you have each day in a block here. And I like to put what I'm gonna be making for dinner in each of the days. Meal planning has just really helped us stay very diligent with eating most of our meals at home, because it is very tempting to just order in, get DoorDash, or eat out and get takeout, all of which are things that we do, but we really only like to do those from time to time, and we like to eat majority of our meals from home, and it's much easier to do so when you've planned out your meals for the week. I typically do this on Friday evenings or Saturdays, just depending on what we have going on, and then I'll take inventory of our fridge and our pantry and see what ingredients we need based on the recipes that I did select to make for the week. About a year ago, I was so busy with content creating and my full-time job and planning our wedding that I really was just finding that I was skipping lunch. I was working through lunch, and I needed a solution. I needed a way to make sure I was eating lunch, and I needed to step away from my computer, but I was having a really hard time doing so. So I thought, why not try out meal prepping on Sundays? I can just find some easier recipes to make it on Sundays, because meal prepping is a lot of work. It sucks the day of, but seriously, having 3 to 4 lunches covered during the week for both my husband and I was a lifesaver, and it helped him save so much money with not eating lunch out all the time since he goes in office, and it helped me to be able to step away from my computer because I knew I had something already prepared and already made for me that I just needed to heat up, and I didn't have to take time out of my day to prep anything for the lunch. I could just heat it up, get back some time to myself during lunch. It also helps a lot with our goals in terms of eating very balanced, and I just highly recommend the day that you choose to meal prep, make that be one of the days that you eat out, so that you are not making a ton of food for your meal prep and creating and making a whole dinner. That is a lot of time spent in the kitchen, and we learned very quickly that that was a quick way to make us feel miserable on Sundays. So we started dedicating Sundays as one of our days to eat out, and it's truly just been so great for us. The next healthy habit is reducing the amount of caffeine I drink. This has been one that has been more recently implemented into my routine. And if you keep up with my vlogs and watch my reset videos, then this is no surprise to you. I used to be someone that would drink an energy drink, either a full one or half of one before my workout classes in the morning. I would come home, have a coffee, and then sometimes have even more caffeine again in the afternoon to get me through that 3 p.m. slump that we all know and hate. I noticed a change in the quality of the sleep I was getting and really just my ability to sleep, and figured it was probably because I was just having a little bit too much caffeine. So I have cut out having half of an energy drink or a full energy drink in the mornings before my workout class. It was a hard adjustment to make, but we did it. And what I do now instead is I wait until after I've worked out and come home to have my first cup of coffee. It's something I've started doing recently to really just help me get through the last part of the day so that I can maintain my productivity throughout the afternoon. I switched to having matcha in the early afternoon instead, and it has just been a game changer for having a much more sustainable energy and not having to deal with all of the jitters and the way my stomach feels when I have too much coffee. And the matcha that I've specifically been loving recently is Peak's matcha. Y'all have seen me talk about in vlogs recently, and Peak's Sun Goddess matcha is truly the best for performance and energy. I had tried so many different matchas, even at like literal coffee shops, and I felt like I could never enjoy matcha by itself. Peak's matcha is the only one I've found and tried and loved and have been able to drink on its own. I also love Peak's matcha because it contains caffeine and L-theanine. L-theanine is a wonderful calming ingredient. It's truly the key to having a more sustainable level of energy so that you don't crash. So I feel like I'm not compromising my sleep quality or my ability to fall asleep in the evenings like I was when I was having an afternoon coffee, since the L-theanine is great for facilitating sleep and help promoting relaxation. I also love how easy the Peak Sun Goddess matcha is to take on the go because it just comes in little packets. I also really love how well it dissolves. I've tried a lot of matchas at home and I feel like I just end up getting lumps of the matcha powder in my mouth when I'm drinking it, which is not fun, and that has never happened to me with Peak. And it's so good because it has this creamy umami flavor. Peak Sun Goddess matcha is also really great because it helps support lipid metabolism, and I can trust that the Peak Sun Goddess matcha is high quality as well. It is ceremonial grade and organic, and it's quadruple toxin screened for pesticides, heavy metals, toxic mold, and radioactive isotopes. So you know you're getting some good quality matcha. If you're looking for a delicious way to optimize your performance and energy, maybe replace your morning coffee if you're really sensitive to caffeine with some matcha, or if you're like me and trying to just reduce the amount of caffeine that you're having overall, you can check out Peak Sun Goddess matcha at the link in my description box and get up to 15% off, and also get a cup and a rechargeable frother. The rechargeable frother is so amazing. I love using it to mix my Sun Goddess matcha in with water, and I also love using the frother to make cold foam. It's a really high quality and amazing frother. Thank you so much to Peak for sponsoring this portion of today's video. Let's get back to the rest of my healthy habits. The next healthy habit is actually listening to my body and just overall having more of an intuitive relationship with my body. I used to be somebody who didn't really listen to their body. I didn't really know how to, and something that really helped me learn how to listen to my body was getting an Aura ring. And I've had so many people ask me how I like my Aura ring, if I think it's worth it, and all of the things. And I will say I got my Aura ring when I was working at my corporate job because I could buy it with HSA money, and I did have and do have an HSA account. I've had it for a little over 6 months. I want to say going on 7 months now. I really love that I'm able to track a lot of different things and get a lot of different stats without having to have my phone tied to it like an Apple Watch, where you're getting your phone calls and your texts and everything still. And this is just much more comfortable to wear, in my opinion, compared to an Apple Watch. I do wear it when I work out, and yes, my ring is very scratched. I don't totally care because I'm not really wearing it for it to be aesthetically pleasing and for it to look good per se. I'm wearing it for the data that I'm able to get and really just being able to start listening to myself better. Once you've had your Aura ring for a while though, it really does start to just know everything about you in a way. I don't use the natural cycles in tandem with Aura ring because I already am paying for the Aura ring subscription. I just use my Flow app when it comes to tracking my cycle. But because it has been able to accumulate all of this data for almost 7 months now, I have been able to see trends that really help me when it comes to listening to my body, but knowing why I need to listen to my body, if that makes sense. So for example, when I'm about to start my period, my body temperature rises. My Aura ring usually says and suggests, take it easy today. And it has helped me just be so much more intuitive. It's helped me to actually slow down because I used to just be somebody who was go, go, go all of the time, and I didn't really have anything telling me to slow down. It's just been so great for taking action when it comes to making changes that are backed by data. I've noticed trends when it comes to if I'm eating dinner late at night, if I have caffeine later in the day, if I drink before bed, like drink alcohol. I have been able to see trends in how that impacts my sleep. And the few times that I've kind of gotten a little bit of a cold or I've gotten sick, my Oura Ring has picked up on it, and it said, like based on these different factors and this different data, like your body may be getting sick, take some extra care of yourself today, that kind of thing. Overall though, it's just been super, super helpful because I'm able to see what changes I need to make in my lifestyle based on data instead of just willy-nilly trying things left and right and not really knowing how they're impacting me, if that makes sense. I just feel so much more in tune with my body, and I feel as though I'm a lot better at actually listening to myself and actually resting because I see the impact that pushing through and just go, 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 hustling all the time has on my sleep, and I see the impact that it has on my stress. I am a numbers person to an extent, so seeing that data is something that's very inspiring for me when it comes to making the changes that I want to make. The next healthy habit I wanted to talk about is mood and habit tracking. This is something that I kind of started doing as just sort of for fun because it was included in my doodle journal that I got for the 2024 year. This is the Shop Amanda Rachel Lee doodle planner, doodle journal, whatever you want to call it. And basically it has weekly spreads and monthly spreads for each month that are all themed. So February has a theme, January has a theme, you get the idea. And there are habit and mood trackers that sort of align with a theme for each month, and you can fill out what habits you want to track and color it in, and then track your mood as well. The reason why I say this is a healthy habit that has changed my life is because there are some habits that I thought I was doing really well with. For example, getting more than 7 hours of sleep. If you would have asked me prior to this year if I was getting 7 hours of sleep or more most nights, I would probably be like, yeah, of course I am, because I knew I was in bed for over 7 hours. But ever since getting my Oura Ring and knowing how many hours I'm actually physically asleep and being able to track that, I can see from a month bird eye view that, oh my gosh, I'm not even getting 7 hours of sleep more than half the month, which is not good. So it's helped me be a lot more aware of the habits that I maybe need to take an extra step to improve so that I can achieve them most of the time, especially the habits that are good for my health. The other habits that I like to track on a monthly basis are the days that I go to like a workout class, the days I make my coffee at home versus getting it out, eating at home, such as like cooking our dinners at home, reading, all that good stuff. And for the mood tracker, it's just been really beneficial for me because I have been able to see patterns in my mood, especially if I look at my mood around the time of my period. That's honestly something that really helped me this year, was seeing how my mood is kind of consistently very crappy for the week before my period and then the week of. And while I knew that before I was tracking my mood, I just feel like I'm much more aware of it now. And tracking habits is just really motivating in and of itself if you're somebody who is a very goal-oriented person, because you can see your consistency month over month and you can see your consistency week over week, day over day. And it's really great for reflecting when you're trying to look in hindsight and see how being consistent helped you reach certain goals, and see if you're being honest with yourself about your habits that you're, wanting to keep and wanting to have in your life. I think the undated version of these for a 6-month planner is still available, but this is also something you can just do in your phone digitally, and you can also just do it in a regular notebook as well. This next healthy habit that I am getting ready to do now is go and walk my dog Ella. Obviously, having a dog, you're gonna walk them, and we don't really have like a yard, so every time we go out to the bathroom, we're going on a walk together. However, our last time that we would take her out in the evenings previously, it would just be to like use the bathroom quickly. It would be like a long walk because it's dark outside. But a couple months ago, back in the winter, I started taking her on evening walks every single night, and basically just doing it at dusk before the last time she goes out, which is usually around like 9:30, 10ish, which is usually just to like pee really quickly. But I recently started taking her on these longer walks because I just wanted to be getting more steps in, and I just realized that I really didn't want to take for granted being in a neighborhood where we are able to walk her, because we weren't really able to do so very safely when we lived downtown. I know going on walks like after dinner is is really beneficial for like digestion, but I also just know it's so good for my mental health. I literally crave doing this, and it's one of my favorite parts of the day now, and I can't believe I used to not do this consistently. I do it like once or twice a week before, and now it's something that we do every day. We do anywhere from like 20 to 30 minutes every night of walking, but the hotter it gets, Ella is a little bit less able to do like longer distances because of how hot it is, and it's not going to be as enjoyable probably in July, August, and September when it's extremely hot here. But that's why I like to go around dusk when the sun is like basically set. Some days I like to listen to music. Some days I listen to podcasts. I don't really listen to podcasts that often, but it's typically music. If I am listening to music, and I'll just like listen to my day list on Spotify or just shuffle one of my playlists. I'm usually like in a feels kind of mood in the evening, so usually something a little bit more soft in the evenings if I'm listening to music. But honestly, I'd say most nights of the week, I'd say like 4 out of the 7 nights of the week, I'm just walking and kind of soaking up the sounds of nature. It's very grounding right before bed to just kind of not be on my phone and go on a walk with her and be outdoors. But sometimes I just don't feel like being alone with my thoughts, and that's when I like to listen to music. I can't recommend going on evening walks enough if you have an area where you're able to. It's seriously such a game changer for mental health, and even if you don't have a pet, I find that I just sleep so much better. It's like such a clear separation between my work day and my end of day and kicking off my wind down evening routine. And if you've ever listened to like my podcast episodes before, or if you've ever watched my videos, then you know that I'm so big on having clear separations between the start of the day and the end of the day, because I just think they do wonders for your mental health, especially when you're somebody who works from home. And I also think that I've been sleeping a lot better since I started doing these evening walks, because it's just enough exercise to like make me feel a little bit more tired and ready for bed, but not so much to where I'm, you know, getting a second wind of energy and feeling really stimulated. So let's go get this walk done. The next habit is one that is literally so simple, but can make such a huge transformation and change in your life, and that is not sleeping next to your phone and charging it in a separate room from where you sleep. I started doing this a few months ago, and it's truly been life-changing, honestly. I plug my phone in on the charger, I make sure my alarm is set, and this just really helps me to not stay on social media and doom scroll all night long, which, as we all know, doom scrolling is just absolutely terrible for our mental health. When you're up late doom scrolling, you're also just losing sleep. You don't get as good of sleep because you're on your phone and you have the blue light in your eyes right before bed. So it's really just this domino effect of poor impact on your health when you are on your phone before bed a lot, and the same can be said when you're on your phone in the morning first thing. I was in such a bad habit of just rolling over, opening my email and responding to things, and immediately, you know, getting back to other people instead of really just focusing on myself at the first part of the day. And even getting on social media, like, why do I need to get on social media at 6 a.m? I don't. It's just better to have my phone in here. I was having a hard time breaking that habit, and I was like, okay, well, what's really causing this habit? What is the root issue of this habit? And I realized it was having my phone in bed with me. So I started charging it in a separate room, and it's been an absolute game changer for my mental health and my sleep, and I snooze my alarm way less now. I think the next step would be to move my Hatch alarm clock to the opposite side of the room so I can't reach over and turn off the alarm, but I at least can't snooze it, like make the alarm time later from my phone with my phone being in here. And I'd say vast majority of the time I don't go back to sleep anyways once I wake up. Usually I have to go pee really bad as soon as I wake up, so once I get up out of bed, I'm up. But I was so bad about actually getting up when I had my phone with me, because I would just get on my phone, I'd sit on my phone too long, I would then start debating if I wanted to go work out or not. Now I'm just a lot better about getting up in those first 5 seconds of my eyes being open, and I was terrible about that when I slept with my phone with me. So to improve your sleep and to really just make sure you're not putting your energy into things that don't really matter at the end of the day and at the start of the day, definitely try sleeping with your phone in another room. Your screen time will go down, you'll have more time for hobbies and things like reading, you'll sleep better, all the good stuff. This next habit more so just has to do with overall just doing some more natural things to just help benefit our sleep. My husband and I both have dry skin, and we got a canopy humidifier, I want to say in 2020 or 2021, when the Skinny Confidential came out with the collab with Canopy. And this isn't sponsored or anything, but I do have a discount code for Canopy. But sleeping with a humidifier has a lot of great benefits, especially if you do have dry skin, and it also is really great for your respiratory system. It can help with snoring because you're adding moisture back into there. We especially love our humidifier during the winter here when we're having to run our heat overnight, and it really just dries out the air. We actually didn't use it really like the first year we lived in the house, just because we kind of just forgot about it and didn't really use it. We moved some things around in our room and got like a new dresser and everything a little over a month ago, and I started using it again. And I really do feel like I started sleeping better once I started using it again. It could be from the humidifier itself. It could also just be from the white noise that it provides. I'm someone who likes a very like subtle, constant noise in the background. I can't have it be too quiet when I'm sleeping because then I feel like I literally hear my thoughts. So I love a good background low noise. This one may seem noisy to some people. It has 3 levels and we put ours on the highest level every night, and I think it's the perfect amount of white noise. My husband doesn't mind it. So I fill up the water tank, and I do love this one because you can put the parts, except for the part that plugs in, into the dishwasher, which is really great for keeping it clean and keeping mold from growing on it. The only thing I will say is they say to keep it on like your nightstand or dresser, so I should probably move it to my nightstand, which it used to be on top of our tall dresser that we originally had, but we have it on the floor next to our dresser now, and that's where we've had it for like the last month. And I do notice it gets a lot more dusty on the fan on the inside when it's on the floor, which makes sense. That's probably why they want you to have it on a dresser or something. It's also really great for just keeping your skin hydrated. So as people with dry skin, we love having a humidifier for that reason. And I know it's probably beneficial for our snake plant that we have in the room too. I know it's not like directly watering it, but I know keeping the air humid is definitely probably helpful. So that's just one example of a way that I like to sort of naturally supplement my sleep without taking something like melatonin, for example. I have nothing against melatonin, and I'll occasionally take like some CBD gummies if I'm really like just having a rough spell of not really being able to sleep. But in terms of daily things I do that sort of just help me sleep better on a day-to-day basis. And then this is something that I started doing more recently, so about 2 weeks ago. I didn't really want to talk about it too prematurely since it's something I started doing more recently, but that is mouth taping. I have heard so many great things about mouth taping, and I actually have a friend who mouth tapes, but she uses just like medical tape, which you can totally do. The only reason I bought the Skinny Confidential one instead of trying out like a medical tape first as mouth taping is because I loved that these had a mouth hole in them, because the concept of mouth taping is definitely a little scary when you first start it because it just kind of feels like you can't breathe even though you can. So I love that the Skinny Confidentials have the little hole in the mouthpiece, so it can help you train to get used to mouth taping in a way. But the way I wear it now that I'm used to mouth taping is I have the hole kind of more so aligned with my top lip instead of in the center of my lip, so that I am truly just breathing out of my nose when I'm sleeping. I know in time it's supposed to help your jawline be super chiseled and just puffiness in your face in general and just overall help you sleep better. The reason why I really felt inclined to try it was because of my jaw clenching that I do really badly in my sleep. I was really bad about doing it all day long and in my sleep when I was working my corporate job, and now I feel like I just only really do it in my sleep really badly. But I noticed since I started using this, I don't wake up with my jaw being in a lot of pain anymore, so that tells me that this has been helping me. I've truly noticed that it's just helped me a lot in that regard. Definitely a fan. Humidifier and the mouth tape combo that I've been doing the last month has really been a nice addition to my sleeping routine, and I've been sleeping all the way through the night for the first time in I don't know how long. I know that so many things affect sleep, so I don't want to claim that these are going to make you do that, but they have helped me, and really it's the only 2 things that I've changed in my routine. And I integrated the Canopy humidifier 2 months ago, and then integrated this about 2 weeks ago. So I feel like I've kind of been able to notice the benefits of each individually. This next habit is exercising about 4 to 5 times a week, and really just finding a workout that you love and actually enjoy going to. Workouts have sort of become fads the same way that fashion has fads and trend cycles and everything, just because of social media and what one viral video says is trending for workouts to look a certain way. I know that that's great if that inspires you to work out in the first place, but I think a lot of people think that just because something sticks for someone means it's gonna stick for them. That's definitely not always the case, and most of the time it's not. I've been consistently working out since 2019, and before that I was really active in sports and whatnot. In my adult life, ever since 2019, I have tried a lot of different things with working out and trying to find what really I liked. There was a period of 2 years where I was going to the gym and strength training, and I enjoyed it maybe like 40% of the time. And I'm not sitting here saying that what I do now, I enjoy it 100% of the time, because there are definitely days that I dread going and don't want to go. But ever since I started going to F45 about a year and 8-ish months ago, I have found a workout that I actually enjoy going to. I look forward to. It's a lot easier for me to get up in the morning and go because I actually really enjoy it. I just love how it always changes, like you're never doing the same workout more than once, so it keeps it interesting and exciting. But in between, since 2019 to 2024, if you think about it, it took me up until the end of 2022, and it took me until mid-2023 to be like, oh, I actually really love this workout and I finally found something that sticks for me. So it took quite some time of trial and error, but I tried out spin, I tried out Pilates, I have tried out a lot of different things, and this is ultimately what has stuck best for me. I started out only going, 2 to 3 times a week, and then I built up to 4 to 5 times a week after I kind of got more consistent, got used to going. But working out 4 to 5 times a week is obviously, really great for you and everything. And I'd say that the week before my period and the week after my period, I probably am more on the 4 times a week side, and I just listen to my body and I don't push myself. Classes that I go to at 45 when it's right during my period, I don't push myself as hard as I typically would the other 2 weeks of the month. But my husband and I were just saying in the car on the way home how it's crazy how we're waking up earlier and really we're getting less sleep when we go to our 6:30 classes, but we have so much more energy during the day because he didn't go yesterday, and he was saying how exhausted he felt just because, it really gets your blood pumping and you got the endorphins flowing and you just feel more awake. So it's just been a game changer for me, and it was especially a game changer for me when I was working my corporate job, because it was just a great way for me to escape and just dedicate 45 minutes to myself, not having any phone on me at all, and just being able to focus on myself for that time. And yeah, just have like a stress reliever and an outlet, and it's just so good for, your strength and your cardiovascular health. And I just think it's so important to find something that you enjoy going to majority of the time. You're not going to enjoy it every day. Like if you're looking for something that you're obsessed with day in and day out, you're not going to find it. So just like stop looking. But you can find things that you enjoy most of the time. There will be days that you don't feel like going, but when you find something you love and you start consistently showing up, that consistency will teach you the discipline to go on the days that you don't want to go. And it takes time, and just try out different things, see what sticks. Even if it's something as simple as going on walks 4 to 5 times a week or going on runs, it doesn't have to be, some workout class, but it's definitely something that has really just transformed my mental health and my physical health and my emotional health, because it just really helps me feel a lot more stable in all those areas. This last habit is reading before bed. I feel like this one kind of goes in tandem with leaving my phone in another room. I have been reading so many more books ever since I started putting my phone in another room to charge, because I'm not sitting on my phone scrolling at night. Reading before bed is just so great because I really feel like it takes my mind off of my day, and it helps me to keep from overthinking before I fall asleep, because I'm literally just taking myself out of my world and putting myself in another world, and I love that. I'm not a huge TV show and movie person. I just always find that I want something in my hand, and I have a hard time turning my brain off when I am watching TV and watching movies. So reading books has always been like my favorite form of escape, because my hands are occupied and because my brain is occupied. It's one of the few things that I can do that kind of keeps me occupied in both regards. Whether it's 5 pages or 5 chapters, I just find that reading before bed really, really helps me calm down, makes my thoughts slow down, and I stop kind of obsessing over all the thoughts in my head. I'm really able to just unplug and get my brain in sleep mode, and I just sleep so much better. And I love my Kindle Paperwhite. I know that you may be thinking, aren't you just replacing one screen with another screen? Yes and no, because the Kindle, I do have the ability to put it like in dark mode, and you can also on the Paperwhite adjust the warmth. I recently got a Paperwhite as an upgrade from the Kindle Basic, and I love that you're able to adjust the warmth on the Kindle Paperwhite. Typically in the evening, I'll turn the brightness all the way down to 1 because my husband's usually sleeping, so I don't want to wake him up with the brightness, and I'll have it in dark mode and I'll have the warmth all the way up. I'm filming this clip a little bit later than the other 2 days I was filming the other clips, but the last healthy habit I wanted to share is taking my hobbies seriously and learning to prioritize them. I feel like we have hobbies when we're children, and then once we get into around high school age and all the way through kind of our college years, we lose sight of our hobbies just because extracurriculars to look good on college applications kind of become the focus outside of school. You're so busy as is, and there's just a lot going on, so it doesn't leave a ton of room for time for hobbies. I think the most well-rounded people, in my opinion, keep hobbies in their schedule throughout busy times in their life, such as college and high school. But I know for me personally, I completely neglected most of my hobbies when I was in high school and college because I was so focused on the things that were going to be landing me the full ride scholarship to college, or the things that were going to be landing me the big job that I wanted right out of college, thinking that I could only do one or the other and couldn't really make time for hobbies. A lot of people don't really think hobbies are worth pursuing or putting time into unless they are lucrative in some way or another financially and have the potential to become a side hustle, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I think the best hobbies are the ones that you invest time in just for the pleasure of doing them. Hobbies are such a great way to escape the real world and unplug while also just allowing yourself to be bad at things, allow yourself to learn how to do new things, challenge yourself, expose yourself to new things, new communities of people. And I think as a society, we get so caught up in monetizing our hobby or only doing things if we think we'll be good at them. But there's so much beauty in just trying things and failing and doing things that you're not good at just for the sake of enjoying the process of doing them. Hobbies can be things as simple as reading a book or coloring. I know that coloring books for adults, I have even seen, have had like a big resurgence, and even me with just doodling and coloring in my doodle journal and doodle planner is something that's therapeutic for me, and I consider that sort of a hobby. With doodle planning and coloring in my doodle journal, I took something that is inherently productive that I kind of stopped enjoying but have always enjoyed since I was a kid, and made it something enjoyable by integrating coloring into it. It could be playing video games or board games, making jewelry at home. I think people really overcomplicate hobbies. I really loved painting on canvases. Like I would go to Michael, get myself little small canvases and just paint whatever I wanted on them. When I was in high school, that was something my friends and I did in high school. And my room was just covered in all the canvases that I did. And it was something I wasn't great at by any means, not even close to being good at, but I just enjoyed doing it and the time spent with friends doing it. And I just think hobbies become even more important when we're adults, because we can really lose ourselves in our jobs and in our work and think that we don't have time for hobbies, but really you just have to create time for them and prioritize them like anything else on your to-do list. And I think most people treat hobbies as something they only do if they have time left over. And that's not the way to do it. That's how I viewed it, I'd say, like my first year and a half of working my corporate job. So if you've been neglecting hobbies, this is your sign to start making time for them in your life again. If it's just 30 minutes a week starting out, it's better than nothing. And those are all of the habits I have for you all today. If you liked this style of video, definitely be sure to let me know. I wanted to do something a little bit different, still similar to my usual sit-down style videos, but put in a lot of effort into making this and making sure I had some good B-roll footage for you all while I was talking. And let me know in the comments a healthy habit that you have in your life that has truly been transformative for you. I'm sure it will be helpful for everyone watching as well to have those to read through. And thank you all so much for watching. It truly means the world to me. Be sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications and follow me on my social media link down below. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video.